So I'm going to show you a quick demonstration of the SIRIS capability between our web page and Google Earth. Over here on the left side I've got an unclassified version of SIRIS with some dummy data in there. So I can't show you all the functionality, but I can definitely show you how we interact. So on the front here you see a lot of the active missions that are currently in the unclassified SIRIS. And I can show you things like platform, how you can actually input and put all your platform information in there. And so if you have several different platforms in your organization, you could preload that and have that ready to go. But under view missions is really where the magic happens, where I can add a new mission and I can configure a cursor on target address book, and I can push my data to other platforms like an MC12 or to a server like a piss-off server for targeting. So what you see here is several different missions that are either active or closed. I'll show you one active mission, Shooter 97. It has some good information in there that I can show you the functionality between SIRIS and Google Earth. So since I'm logged in, I simply just click on the green aircraft. Excuse me. And here you'll be able to see a lot of information here on the left for that mission itself. So I did this during Enterprise Challenge 14 prep as an MQ1, so I can see that it's for that operation, the ATO day, time, date, mission number, and so forth. Location, say we're China Lake, which is where the Enterprise Challenge will be located. The Shooter 97 tab allows me to see the aircraft specifics and how to get in contact with those folks if need be. And then if I had a live feed, I would actually see that feed right here. Not real time, but it gives me an idea of what the aircraft is looking at. So I'll go back to overview, and I can edit that mission any way I want. This little magnifying glass to the left allows me to do some general searching within SIRIS. Excuse me, to help continue building my situational awareness. I can do that through the mission, or I can do that for points, but it allows me to get that quickly without leaving SIRIS itself. On the right of that, I've got the mission information for this Enterprise Challenge mission. The basic description is there. To the right, I've got several options. I can either clone this mission, I can lock it, so only those that I want in can get in. I can delete it if I need to. This is my export feature. I can search within the mission, and I've got target utilities that I'll show you shortly with our crosshair tool. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and export this to KML. And because I'm using Chrome, you'll see that it showed a download here in the bottom left. For IE, it should just open it right up in Google Earth for you. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see Shooter 97 populate over here in Google Earth. So I'll expand that. And now when I click on mission description here, you'll see all that same data that's over here in this left box right here inside Google Earth. So once I export my KML into Google Earth, I rarely have to come back to the SIRIS web page. I can pretty much just stay in Google Earth and start building my situational awareness and interacting with that. But in here you can see all the data about that, who to contact, what I'm doing, some mission documentation that comes with it, and all my classification in that one dialog box. So I'll close that. I'll go ahead and launch the target utilities. So again, it's gonna download and show it's downloading down here on the left. So let me get that going. So now you'll see target utilities that's associated with my mission, so that I can interact with my mission. And I already got the crosshair tool, the screen cross already there, so you can kind of see that. And as you guys know that use Google Earth, that'll stay in the center of the screen, and I'll move the globe around that. So I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to turn that off. Back on the SIRIS page, I'm going to expand my mission information down, and you'll start seeing a lot of the same data that you see over here in my mission. And I'm going to click on points first over here. So these are all the points that I've already got into SIRIS that I did before. So I'll add a few and delete a few for you here shortly. But if I were to expand the points over here in Google, you'd see all the same points. So you can see some have images, some don't. So I'm going to click on one that doesn't have an image, and we're going to zoom in on that. So this is a checkpoint mark that I put in, and as we zoom in, you'll start seeing a lot of other stuff I've put into this Enterprise Challenge KML. Alright, so let me back out of that. Alright, so you don't see anything in there. It's just basically a checkpoint that I dropped. So it makes sense because when you look over here, it's just a checkpoint and no image associated with it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and associate an image with that, but before I do that, I have to actually add an image to SIRIS. So what I have to do is go down here to Images, and I've got 5 images already. So I'm just going to show you how I do it. I don't have an image prepped, but it gives you an idea. So I would just simply add a file, add files, and once it knows where I'm going, it'll go and look for pictures for me. Excuse me. And then once I get the picture I want or the image I want, it'll show up here. I hit add and it uploads it. And once it's uploaded, I'll see it here and also in this list. So once I've added an image there, I can go back to my points and go back here to mark, and now I can edit that point, and I can either rename it, I can give it a new location, I can give it a new point type, I can add more detail in here about the checkpoint. So more detail about checkpoint. I can't spell. Let me try again. About checkpoint. Fat fingers. And now I can just scroll through and find the image that I added. So let's just pretend that I added that image. Bad guy FMV. I'm just going to hit submit. Mission updated. So now I've got a point that's been updated. And as you can already see, it came to the top. There's the image. Right? So what will happen over here on the KML, typically, as you guys know that use this, I'll either have to refresh it or refresh itself. But once I do that and now expand that point, there's the image that I just populated into SIRIS. Now shows up on my Google Earth. So that's good stuff. Okay, so that's adding an image. If I want to add a point, I'll go down here to my target utilities, and I'll pick the target cross. And you'll know because it's green, it has a T, but that allows me to move around my Google Earth globe wherever I want. I'll zoom out. Zoom out, zoom out. Okay, let's go find something. Alright, let's go over here with no clutter. And let's say that I'm chasing something and we stop at this compound right here. Alright, so this is my new stop. And I'll call that a compound of interest. All of these preloaded point types are things that the current users of SIRIS have created. And we have mil standard 2525 icons for those. So when you click on these, you'll actually get an icon that makes sense. So I'm going to call this compound Bravo. And I can then type anything I want here. Hit submit. Points added. Good. So we'll pay attention to this in a minute, but we're going to focus right here. So as that catches up, you'll see that compound of interest, compound Bravo, pop up. That's good. So I can do that over and over and over again as I'm doing whatever I'm doing in my mission. I can continue doing that. I don't see it over here yet, so what I'll end up doing is just refreshing my page. And when this is minimized and I bring it up and refresh, it'll populate and I'll see it. So we'll give that a second to refresh. So as it does that, we'll come back over here. So one of the more powerful options in this version of SIRIS is being able to move a point. So there's our compound. So we thought this was the compound when in actuality it was this one. So in old SIRIS I'd have to go and delete a point, refresh, and add a point. Well, now we don't need to do that anymore. We can actually move that point. So I'm going to deselect target cross, and I'm going to select move cross. Alright, so there's a little M right there. So now all I got to do is go over here to the move slot here, click on it, and now I've got all the points that you see here. So that compound of interest, Bravo, is right there. I'll select it, submit, and when my KML refreshes, which I don't know what my settings are for this one, but it's not as fast as we do in the field, when it refreshes, the point moved. So that's good. And all the data that went with that point here, I don't have an image, would follow along. So that's really good. So now I've got the move cross. Got an ePoly. I've got a piss off cross. Excuse me. Got to tag it. A tag allows me to do things like this over here, where I can start creating a GRG, a grid reference graphic, so I can sequentially drop points with that crosshair tool. And I can also drop a signet point, or I can drop a bullseye, which I've already done up here. So here's our bullseye, Blacko. And so let's say I've already created that point very simply, but I need to change some attributes of that point. I can go back here to my bullseye. I have one. I can click on Edit. I can change its name, location, orientation, lots of information in here, but I'm just going to change the color to white. And leave that alone, and I'll just hit submit. It tells me that it's updated. So now I'll change some attributes of that bullseye, and when I'm going to let Shooter do this on its own, there it goes. When it updates, it now changes the attributes of that bullseye. So I've went through some of the basic functionalities of the crosshair tools to modify points, targets, bullseyes, and others. I showed you where the images are. Our documents, you can upload various documents from PowerPoint to PDFs. Show you the description of the mission, how to lock it, and just some of the basic functionality between Google Earth and SIRIS web page. What we're not seeing for those who've used SIRIS is we're not able to see the aircraft, its leader line, its center point of interest, and the FMV that we can actually drape over top of Google Earth. So for those who have seen SIRIS and can get out on the new SIRIS 1.1 that's operational currently, those features still exist. So that is the quick SIRIS demo for those who've never seen it. And if you have any questions, you can definitely contact us from the web page. You can see up in contacts how to get a hold of us here. So that's all, and thanks for watching.